Welcome back to my channel, The G Life. I'm G. Um, okay, so I decided to talk about a very personal experience of mine. Yeah, probably one of the most personal and yeah, I think this is probably one of the most personal stories, things I'm going to say um, on my channel thus far. So take a moment, go ahead, subscribe, and get to know me a little better. Okay, now I don't know if you guys have watched some of my older posts. There's a lot of different stuff, right? But one of the things I mentioned was that I have another son. I know I had him when I was like 8 years old, I think. Not really, but whatever. Don't worry about it. I was younger. It's a whole different thing. And one of the things, and this is, I guess, the most personal thing, you talk about is your life and your children, right? Um, so I was a single mom for his entire life. Basically, I became an empty nester and started all over again like a crazy person. Um, but that's neither here nor there. I think what is interesting and what I don't know if people talk about this really. Like I don't know how often people are talking about it. I'm sure people talk about it, but maybe I've just been out of the loop. But that transition you go from having a kid, a mom, being a mom, to having an adult child, you know they don't talk about what the parents go through. Like there's always like this whole like sigh of relief, like they're adults, I'm finished, right? But you're not really finished, because even us older adults still need sometimes a more experienced adult to get us through shit sometimes, right? Like, but the transition with my son was really difficult. And so, and it wasn't difficult just because like he grew up. Some shit went down. So yeah, some crazy shit went down. And actually maybe it's why I like am where I am today, right? Like if he had followed the plan, things would have been different, maybe, or delayed. So this is what had happened was, and a little background, right? A single mom raising a son on her own, it's hard. And not hard just from the perspective of being with a child alone and the energy and the things you have to put into a child. It's also hard on the single mom from the perspective of, you know, all of it. Like all of it. And I think it's so like, I mean, there's a whole man right now giving women dating advice, telling single moms how they're of lower value because they have children, right? And not with the father. So that's not something that's new, that attitude. So yeah, so like there's a whole lot. It was a whole lot to deal with raising him. And I was fortunate enough to be financially stable during this time. As a single mom, I was financially stable. I had a really great job. We took great holidays. Like I was able to, fly my son business class to, other countries. And I mean, so, we were all right, like from the perspective of having what we needed to survive and thrive, right? Like that was an issue. So even with that, it was still hard. And you pour all of this stuff, all of this energy, this love, this giving. You give all of this stuff to these kids, right? And especially when you're a single mom, you're just fighting for all of the things that you have to do and making sure, you don't fit into what people expect of you as a single mom. Like, you push yourself really fucking hard, you do. And you pour this stuff in your kids, and ultimately what had happened was with my kid is that he changed the script, right? He was supposed to go to university and all of these things, and he had got accepted into really great schools, and he made his choices and he was ready to go, and then he didn't. And it wasn't that he just didn't go, he ran away, right? And so this whole thing changed everything. Like, I lost myself because I had been putting so much into this kid. I had been doing all this stuff. Like, I was a mom, and like, that's who I was. And then all of a sudden he took control over his life and did something unexpected. And I say he took control because it was his life. It was what he wanted to do. And there was nothing I could do about it, right? Like, there was really nothing I could do about it. It was like, he was of age, like, whatever. So I was lost. I was really like fucking, like, I didn't know what to do. I was emotional. I was brokenhearted. I was like all of these things because what was I like, I was fighting for so long for everything for him, and then all of a sudden I had to stop doing that. Like, I like, not in the sense like I wanted him to stay away or something, but I had to accept his choice. What could I do, right? And I didn't at first. Let's just say I didn't at first. I I tried to get him, get him back in the school. I tried to do all of the things, that a parent would do to try and correct what you see or you feel is a mistake or a wrong choice, right? So I did all of that, but it was a waste of energy. Like, I can't do anything. You can't make somebody do something. You can't. So I had to accept it, right? And acceptance is hard. I can accept so many things. Like, I always taught my son to be completely who he was, right? Like, so if he came home one day and he had changed all of his looks, and I'd be like, okay, cool, that's fine. But this I was having a hard time with because, like, there was still that expectation, like, well, what are you gonna do? Do you have a plan? Like, whatever. This isn't about him, it's about me. And so basically, yeah, I was lost, y'all. I was lost. And this is when, like, everything, like, I ended up losing my job, and I was like married to the wrong person, and all of this stuff was going on. I was completely like, I didn't know what to do with myself anymore. This was when I left the country, right? And I went to a few other countries before I ended up here in Italy. But as I was going through this journey, going through this unpacking what happened, and then trying to also reconnect and reestablish a relationship with my son. So I had to look for the lesson, I guess, that this was supposed to teach me. Because, like, let me tell you something. Like, I do think that our kids are here to teach us a lot of stuff that we need to know for our transitions in life, right? Even if that's to, like, the next lifetime, like, they're teaching us something, right, about ourselves. And so I had to, I really thought we were good, like, I felt like I had learned lessons through the time. Like, I really did all of the things that I could do. I pushed, I fought, I did, like, I thought I was good with the lessons. Like, I'm like, damn, what the fuck? What else is there for me to learn at this point? I didn't fought and bled and all the things. I lived so many lives during this raising of this kid, right? I was like, what else? Shit, like, what else do you got for me? I can't learn nothing else. I didn't learn all the things. At least, you know, I thought I was close. Now I got new creatures trying to teach me stuff. Yeah, we'll talk about them later too. But I had to figure it out, whatever that was supposed to be. And this is one of the, I guess, most important lessons that I had to learn. Now, you want to know what the lesson was? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. Keep listening. I'm going to tell you. Shh. Okay. So, yeah, the lesson. So, it took me a while to figure out what the lesson was, is that really the lesson? Is that like, and then to actually start seeing how I needed to learn it. You know, it's not like you figure out the lesson and you're like, oh, I accept that lesson sometimes. Like, no, you have to sometimes like, well, when and why and how, and you have to see it for the future. So that's what I had to realize. As I've now been on this journey, what I'm taking from that relationship and that time as a mom, as a single mom, oh man, I gotta talk about that too. Being a single mom versus this partner thing, that's another. Subscribe. I'm gonna be talking about that soon. Yeah, I had to learn this thing, right, from him, and he had to be the one to teach me, because with him, I always like that was my boy, right, and not in that weird, creepy mama, you know, raising her son to be like the man of the house. Like that was never a thing. He's not a man of the house. He was not my king. Like no, that's not my thing. So, and not to knock anyone who does that, but like that's just not my thing. That's not how I see my son. This was my partner because I feel like he taught me from the very beginning love and self-sacrifice and change, right? Flexibility. That I wasn't who I thought I was when we met, you know, he and I. So it's one of those things. Okay. So the lesson. This was a lesson for me in transition and letting go. And I say letting go because there have been so many things that I've held on to, and not just people, but emotions and expectations, thoughts, whatever, you know. I had to let a lot go. And I really have like this quote of like, you have to let go of the life that you planned to live, the life that you're supposed to have. When I ran across that quote, I'm like, that's my reality. I have to keep letting go of so many things. And I had to let go of him, and in the sense that he was not that little kid anymore. You know, I had put all of the things in him to make him who he was supposed to be, and he needed to do what he needed to do the way he needed to do it to blossom and also let me go, right? So I think like in that heartbroken period of time, and it was a few years, it wasn't, I can't snap anymore. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It wasn't, I'm gonna stop snapping. It wasn't like that. It wasn't quick. So I really had to work, man. I had to work on rebuilding that relationship with him. I had to work on myself and getting over all of it, because I mean, and it took a while, because even as we were trying to rebuild our relationship, when things came up, I'd be like, oh my God, why does he hate me? You know, like, why is he so mean? What is wrong? You know, I did all the things. I invested time and money, and we took trips. I didn't know what else to do, you know, and but it was me too. Like I had interpreted his what had happened as an assault of some sort, and maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was, but I like felt assaulted. And so um all of that pain I had to work on and work it out with him, and we had to have conversations, and I had to understand more, and then let go again, let go of what I thought he had did, because it wasn't about me. That was hard, and I don't think people talk enough about that transition from raising a child to being a parent of an adult. And I'm talking about when you're really that involved, you know, that it really involves parenting, where you are working on trying to make this the best human person that you can, and you have to be like, oh, that job ends at some point, and I still need to have something for myself and be something for myself. And I think that I had forgotten that, especially like maybe having had him so young. I hadn't became who I was supposed to be yet. By the time I had him, I kind of grew up with him in a lot of ways. So I think that I had to like accumulate all those lessons and see where it hashed me out, and then see where it hashed he and I out together. And so we're great now, I think. I never know. No, we're good. We're good. He's still the apple of my eye, the love of my life, all of that. I have more than one loves of my life, obviously. These other little creatures who are trying to kill me on a regular basis are also loves of my life. I have Stockholm syndrome. Anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and subscribe to the channel. I'm G, and I don't know. I would love to hear about the lessons that you're learning from your children, or exploring that topic more. Ask me questions. So yeah, ciao ciao for now.